deepest yearning of the human heart as it relates to other humans is to connect with other humans, is to be able to feel that this other person understands me, that they really get who I am as a person.
Our motto is, we are all Canucks.
I saw that.
Yeah, so that's, even in that statement, I think it is that we want people to really be part of this community.
And so I just had like my very favorite people, people that I love the most over. And, I always work nights, so I don't get a chance to really hang out with everyone I love as much as I would like to. And, it was a mellow night. Everyone just kind of hanging out, listening to records and drinking cocktails. And at one point I just sat back and just kind of like looked around at everyone. And it was just like, it was perfect. It was really nice.
It's something that everyone, that we need. We need to be a part of a community. I mean, you think about, when they put people in isolation in a prison cell. Why is that so difficult for a human being to be locked away without talking to anybody? I mean, that to me, that would be like, that's the worst thing you can think of. We need to be in community. We're created that way.
Yet, on the backside of that same equation, it's our greatest fear. It's the thing that we push away from the most.
The fear of falling in love and giving it all away, giving it to that person, it's a huge risk, isn't it?
Somebody looks you in the eye, a stranger that you've never seen as you walk down the street, and most people's tendency is to look away. They don't want to make the connection. They're afraid of the connection, even though that's what they really desire, is that connection. So, for myself, where I find, the deepest satisfaction is in times where I'm able to, foster that connection, grow that connection, and, experience another person, I guess, on almost a spiritual level.
I've never been one for relationships. I've never stayed in relationships. I've always I was very terrified of commitment. And I'm in a relationship now, but before this relationship, I was always running. I was always running. It terrified me. And there's certainly been times in this relationship where I wanted to just throw my cards done. I can't handle the realness, and you have to be so open, and it's really difficult.
Did you feel as if you were your greatest enemy when it came to love?
I was terrified of it. Having been divorced, a bunch of years in between, and then going again, it was the fear of falling, fear of falling in love, and all that meant. But it was the most glorious moment in my life when I was able to say, I love you.
Two guys are walking down the Emmaus Road, and they're having a conversation about things happening in their local town. And a third individual joins them and begins talking to them and asking them what in the world is going on. And they start telling them the story of Jesus. And they don't realize that it's Jesus all along. It's in the conversation with them. They don't realize that they've already been brought into the story of God. And in fact, God is the person who is driving the conversation. And afterwards, when Jesus was gone, and they realized who he was, they said, didn't his words burn in our hearts? Maybe that's what Soul Cravings is all about, realizing that everyone is on a journey and God is walking at their side. And even though they don't know it, God is having a life-altering conversation with them. And that their soul cravings, this craving for intimacy, this craving for meaning, this craving for destiny, it's God speaking to us, letting us know that we are created for a relationship with Him. And that what we need to do, what we are invited to do is to enter into that journey, to enter into that conversation. And instead of trying to initiate a conversation, instead of trying to impose our story on their story, maybe what we need to do is step into their story and realize that God has been speaking to them all along. It's a story that has been written long before we entered into the narrative. I'm hearing you correctly. You're saying you've made a genuine and authentic connection to Jesus.
Yeah.
But it seems unlikely to you that you would be able to have a meaningful Jesus experience in the church.
I can't because I felt like everybody was going to a golf game when they showed up. And there was more polyester there, and it felt superficial, it felt disingenuous.
On the positive side, what I hear you saying is you actually long for really authentic community and a spiritual journey that really brings health and vitality to your life.
Yeah.
And one where you could make the world better with other people. Wouldn't it be amazing if a whole bunch of us got together just to make the world better?
I'd be right there. I'd be there in a second. To see the look that you've got in your eyes, if I saw that in more people's eyes, I'd be a happier person, because you carry whatever it is that you're all about right there. And that's what I noticed when I first met you.
Is it possible that these kinds of cravings inside of us, our need for love and for meaning and destiny, could they be something that God placed inside of us so that it causes us to search for Him and as the source of love and meaning and destiny in life? If you have the opportunity to connect to the source of love and meaning and beauty, would that be something that would be inspiring and meaningful to you?
Well, everybody knows that.
That was the most beautiful answer. So with all the negative experiences you've ever had with religion or Christianity or anything connected to Jesus, I just want you to know that someone who is connected to Jesus says that you're amazing. Okay? And that you're very, very unique. And I hope that at least this could be a small positive experience for you along the way. Yeah.
When would you feel most alive? When would you feel most connected with your creativity and spirituality? What would you be doing?
I think even talking on, because I have this thing about technology is, in business, is get the computer off the table and get a cup of coffee in front of people. And I really think that what happens where you find real comfortable with religious talk is maybe talking about, whether we're talking about, I'm something when we talk about the downtown east side and we talk about Chinatown, we talk about sort of achievements and how we're helping others. You're actually talking about religion, but you're not just going through rhetoric. You're not just explaining that I'm doing it because the Bible says so, or I'm following the word of Jesus. You're just doing what man is supposed to do.
We came to Canada. We found some amazing people who are on a deeply profound spiritual journey. And even when they were not open to Jesus at first, they were very open to a meaningful journey with another human being who has met Jesus. And maybe that's where you come in. Instead of arguing with people, instead of fighting with them, instead of trying to be right, how about if we just start walking alongside of people and helping them realize that they're soul crazy?